Good afternoon, Saitlanders. How are you? We trust that you are very, very well. I'd like to just share, I've got to do an interview just now, so I don't want to talk for too long. My opinions on the 20th of March. Now, firstly, this is not Saitlanders' policy. If we had a policy, then I would adhere to the policy, but we don't have a policy because we don't have a crystal ball and we don't know how things are going to pan out on the 20th of March. Although at senior leadership level, we are exchanging good quality information and intelligence. So it's not that we're, sitting on our hands, but we don't have a crystal ball. And none of the information or intelligence is of such a conclusive nature, not that I've seen yet. There may be something I haven't been on WhatsApp in the past couple of hours, is of such a conclusive nature that it is incumbent upon us to adopt a formal Saitlanders policy in respect to our members. So in other words, members, we've heard this, we formally advise that, or we formally suggest the following. So why am I taking the liberty of doing this in my own name, as it were, or, half in my own name, off my own bat? It's because many people have asked me about the 20th of March, and many people have sent me information. And I think in many cases of the latter, they wish me to respond. They're not asking, but they're hoping that I'll say something in response to their WhatsApp message. That's the distinct impression that has been made upon me in recent days. There are a few things to say. The first is that Julius Malema has made such threats in the past. The EFF was founded, if I'm not mistaken, in 2013. It is thus 10 years old. On at least two previous occasions, Julius Malema has made broad, sweeping declarations of how he's going to shut down the country, and the EFF is going to do this, and the EFF is going to do that, and nobody's going to get into the in or out of the union buildings, and government is going to be paralyzed. I may not be quoting faithfully, but certainly in the spirit, I'm not far off. And nothing has ever come of those exercises in braggatry, really. So I'm skeptical that this is going to be successful, the 20th of March shutdown. Secondly, he doesn't have great voter support. It's about 1/8 of the voters of South Africa, although you would be well within your rights to say that given his constituency, he may have a lot more support than those people who will go to polls on any given occasion, among squatters and the very poor and so on. Thirdly, you would be well within your rights to say that many adventurists may join the national shutdown on the 20th, even though they are not EFF supporters. So young men with too much testosterone and too little to do and too little to lose, who are not EFF supporters, may just join for the fun of looting, burning, throwing stones, and so on. That's fair comment. Nevertheless, the fact remains that it's not like he's got 30% of the population of South Africa behind him when he talks about this shutdown, or when he endeavors to implement it. Next, so far as I can tell, the groups that I'm on are not turning up any interesting information about, I'm talking about security groups, security and intelligence type groups, are not turning up much interesting information about plans being made in Kimberley, or leaks that are coming out in Johannesburg, or rumors of big activities being planned in Bloemfontein. There's none of that, and it's improbable that they could keep such a big thing, if it was to be a big thing, secret, as well as they seem to be. It's improbable. Anything's possible, but it's improbable. So for those reasons, I put it to you that I think that it's going to be a damp squib. The English expression, a squib is a type of firework. So a damp firework, a wet firework. I think that it's going to amount to very little. However, there are a couple of things worth saying to the contrary. The one is that by coincidence, the South African Police Service is supposedly going to go on strike on the 17th. Now, there have been good pieces of information concerning that, so you would be well within your rights to say they are going on strike on the 17th, today being the 13th, so in 4 days' time, Friday. Yeah. However, it's not as if it's not as if there've been formal notices, and as if we're hearing from all corners that the SAPS strike is on and it involves everybody, or it involves 50% or 75, whatever. We're just hearing that the certain factions, if you like, or certain voices within the SAPS are declaring that there shall be a strike. And as one guy pointed out on a group that I'm on today, Pop Crew is not saying as much as you would expect them to be saying if this putative strike by the SAPS had everybody's support, and it was a fait accompli that it would be a great success, or a worthwhile endeavor anyway. And that guy made a good point on a security and intelligence group. Which is not to say they're not going to go on strike. It's just to say things how they are. Right. So the fact that they may go on strike is an ominous thing. If they do go on strike, as I've already explained, I'm not so sure that this SAPS strike is going to be such a big deal. But if it is, if it turns out to be, and it carries on for 4 days, and on the 20th, there is a shutdown, and out of that shutdown emerges lawlessness and anarchy. Anarchy means without authority. So for Roman Catholics, an archbishop is a superior bishop. He's a governing bishop. In a certain region, there may be, say, 10 bishops, and there'll be one archbishop keeping an eye on the bishops, that their bishoprics are being run according to doctrine and dogma. So anarchy is without authority. So without authority, without governance, without law and order, the law and order that comes out of authority, we may see violence get out of hand. It may happen that way. Another thing that worries me is that Julius Malema is speaking as if he knows something that we don't. He's speaking with a certain air of confidence that is not mere vainglorious, populist, demagogic braggatry. It's almost as if he is speaking with self-assurance rather than breë bors, dik stem. But I don't know, I could be reading too much into his tone of voice and his body language and his facial expressions and so on, his choice of words. Another thing that bothers me in this, that gives rise to this counter-argument. My first position is that I don't think that it's going to be a big thing because he's never gotten it right in the past and he doesn't have the support in order to bring the country to a grinding halt. But the other thing, in the counter-argument to what I believe, is how can I put this? It's under the present circumstances of South Africa, anything's possible. The present circumstances, so the framework around, my circumstances are the climate and the weather, and my condition is what I am within those things. Right now I'm very warm and I'm perspiring. My condition is I'm hot. The circumstances are that I live in a semi-desert region, that it's summertime, that it's been a hot day, that my house is a very warm house, that I don't have the air conditioning on, that I only have one of the fans on. Those are my circumstances. The resulting condition is that I'm hot and bothered and sweaty and tired and otherwise and difficult and so on. Both the circumstances and the condition of South Africa dictate that anything could happen. That it could just be one of those, not a perfect storm. I don't want to overdo that phrase, but when maybe as a kid you were mucking around with something, let's say with matches, and you knew how matches worked. You thought, I've got this under control, played with matches many times. Dad and Mom can't see me. But you may put a match to a substance that you didn't fully understand. And it ignited beyond your expectations. And I think that South Africa possesses that potential in light of the circumstances and conditions. Poverty is out of control. Breakdown in law and order. Dramatic increase in crime, as we saw from the fourth quarter figures of 2022. People are fed up. Another thing that I think counts for a lot is the precedent. The helpless, hopeless, and lost masses who are turning to crimes like pillaging trucks going up Fields Hill or through Moy River, outside Moy River, from the Durban side, the other side, up that hill. The people who are doing that and who have contributed to the dramatic increase in robbery and so on, maybe this is their time, their moment. Another thing that militates against my position and my belief of what's going to happen is the sissy-like concession of many white people concerning the threats to businesses. Now, I'm not saying that if you run a butchery in in Durban's Old Market area, near the taxi rank, that you should place yourself in harm's way by going to work next Monday the 20th. Not at all. And I'm not saying that you should be a big man and say, I don't care what the EFF says. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that it was disgracefully, it was a disgraceful admission of weakness and vulnerability that sets a precedent. When certain white political leaders said last week, the EFF is threatening to ruin businesses that open, therefore you must close. They have now handed all initiative once and forever to the economic freedom fighters, and it can never be gained back except by violence, and we cannot resort to violence. Not only was it stupid, and it showed an abysmally poor understanding of the people and of human nature generally, because it's applicable to almost any society, culture, race, ethnicity imaginable. But black people black people. I've told you the story I'm sure I've told it, about what the Nigerian guy said to me, that a multi-millionaire oil lawyer one day in Nigeria, he said, you white people have forgotten how did he put it? You white people have forgotten? You white people have forgotten something that we Africans still know, or still understand. And that is that if you show an African generosity, he takes it for weakness. He expects you to be hard on him. And that was in reaction to me being startled when, after a 12-hour day, him, myself, and his chauffeur being together, it was like a good 12-hour day, 14 hours maybe. We got back to his compound, and as we walked away from his Range Cruiser, or whatever those fancy schmancy things are called, he said to the driver, right, you're on sentry duty tonight, and if I come out and I catch you sleeping, you're in for a thrashing. I couldn't believe this. I didn't say anything, but I was so arrested by it that he said to me, don't start with that stuff, white boy. Anyway, the point being, Africans will tell you that in African culture, what those white political leaders of last week did is capitulate. The concession was tantamount to a capitulation. We concede that you have said you will destroy businesses, therefore we advise our constituency in public for the whole world to know it, that they should not open their businesses. Capitulation, for it cannot be recovered. That's not a statement of Simon Roche's opinion, that's a statement of fact. Now and forever, every single time that the economic freedom fighters threatens in that manner, they're going to believe in themselves more than we believe in ourselves. And not only that, they're going to believe in themselves more than they believe in us. Because when there's a rivalry or hostility, an opponent, you believe to some extent in the opponent. You can't say, I only believe in myself. You've got rocks in your head. If you can't believe that he is, well, he's 5'8.5". Well, he does weigh 75 kilograms. He appears to be have good ball sense, or whatever it may be. And to some extent, they believe in us as something, whatever that may be. We're extremely weak, moderate, strong, very strong, whether it pertains to determination, wealth, willingness to resort to violence, intelligence, cunning, shrewd, whatever, they have some perception of us. Their perception of themselves has just increased by our response because we showed, the concession showed weakness or apparent weakness. So in their minds they are stronger, and in their minds we are weaker than we have hitherto displayed. Because hitherto nobody has ever in the 28 years of the new South Africa Rainbow Nation said something as stupid and as weak as those two politicians said on Friday. One is a politician, one a voice. Stupid and weak. Which is not to say, go and open your business at Durban Station, your Wazanawe butchery, because you think you're a wide boy, or you think I'm encouraging you to play wide boy. Nobody is that dumb. But to admit in public, for the safety of our beloved people and members and whatever, I don't know, don't open your business. And next time? What are you going to say next time? And on the 12th occasion, what are you going to say? I'm asking you a question. What are you going to say on the 12th occasion? And the 24th? You damned fool. And ladies and gentlemen, you might think that I'm overreacting. I wish to promise you that this is grievously important. Grievously. A day will come. There will come a time when people say, why was he so restrained? Why didn't Simon say it like it is? Why was he not more forceful? Why didn't he make more videos and longer videos on this very subject? Because this is an inflection point. This is a hinge. This is a fulcrum. This is a fulcrum. That is to say, the pivot point of a lever. I don't know if I can really show. I wanted to show maybe with the lighter or whatever. But the pivot point of the lever, the fulcrum. Oh, dear me. In the history of this country, I don't say that this is one of the, the Friday's utterances were one of the 10 biggest or 100 biggest or 555th biggest events, but there's an inflection there. There's a fulcrum there. The fulcrum was shifted. No. You have a national leader calling for violence implicitly and threatening people's lives, livelihoods, and goods and chattels, their assets, goods and chattels. And the most prominent response is weak. It's bad, very bad. So I think that they may take advantage of that. I just don't think that they have the numbers to take proper advantage of it. And that's my general take on the 20th of March. Who knows? Time will tell. Let's wait and see. Thank you for watching this video. Goodbye and God bless you.